Ugh. You're a crab.
Ring, 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 hello, simps and virgins, and welcome back to
Hey,
Krown's
you're a unicorn.
magical Sexy internet money cave.
The internet money cave is back again, and god damn it, get out of my face! Get out of my face! We have some very important stuff to get into right now, not this nonsense that you're getting into over there. Anyways, I want to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a lovely Tuesday or Wednesday morning out there in cryptocurrency land. Bitcoin's moving, the whole market's moving, even traditional is bouncing up as well. We got a bit of a turnaround Tuesday going on right now, as all of the major professionals have essentially closed their desks for the rest of the trading year, and it's now just retailer time to go fucking ape wild, I do guess. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn off my alerts right there, and I do want to get into a few announcements here. First and foremost, I'm not partnering up, but I'd like to represent a good friend of the community here. He is brothers actually with Mr. Crypto African Warlord, who you very much know and love, our lovely moderator over there, a very trusted friend as well. And if you do look in the link in the description below, I actually do have a couple links there to a Solana Rex's Club, which is essentially a charity for American missing kids. Like, kids get abducted all the day, apparently all the fucking time. So trying to get a little bit of charity spirit going on into the holiday season here. We'll actually be doing more of this going onwards and forwards. We're actually working on doing something with building schools in Africa. Hopefully at some point in time we can actually make that like legitimized, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing is making sure that the money actually gets to the people who fucking need it, because if you're not aware of charities, like, usually none of the fucking money actually gets to the actual people who need it. It usually just goes to the administrators and shit. So with this one, I can actually be assured that it is going in the proper direction. The people who have who are essentially heading this, they are all doxxed, they are all like public people, they are all, you know, there to sue if they don't do exactly what they said. So I do feel comfortable with that, and I just want to let everyone know, again, it is a holiday week here, so it's in the link description below for you. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about before we get into this one? I see that there's already 1,200 people watching, more than 1,200 people watching. That's a new all-time record before the video barely even starts. 350 likes. We're on par. We're not trending just yet. We're consolidating the likes, but it's all good, man. You can't expect new all-time highs every day. In fact, I'm just grateful that it's even this high to begin with. So massive appreciation for that. And today we have a lot to be speaking about. Of course, we'll start it off in the Krown Chain application as always. Actually, no, we won't start off in the Krown Chain application. What I want to start off by saying is by saying, hey, welcome to everyone out there. There he is, Mr. African Crypto Warlord, the man of the hour right now. Nikki Page, there she is. Good morning to you. Our lovely moderators keeping everyone safe in Safu yet again. Do we see Philson? I see Philson! What's up, man? Good to see you, brother. Good morning to you as well. Who else do we have over here? I want to make sure that everything is running nice and smoothly on my own end. Crypto Chrissy, I see you over there. I see you, new 3333, herp your derps. Mr. Gaylord, there he is. Good morning to you as well. Who else do we have? RK Sidhu, good morning as well. Yeah, Lawless Yak, that is a difficult name to say actually for whatever reason. And Elsa's here, and BG Philosophian. Oh man, and Jack, there he is. Jack, good morning to you as well. All right, I think I've gone through all the comments right there, and let's get into it right now. I'm going to turn off my own comments so I don't get distracted. Mr. D, good morning to you. Wait, no, I already said good morning to you. Suede, good morning to you. GM, sir, GM indeed. Okay, so how do I want to preface this off? And I am Charlie. There he is. There he is indeed. All right, so let's actually start this off from this vein over here, and I'm going to record this. I have a nice, I have my own little, my own coffee mug. That's how big of a dickhead I am today, but I actually quite like it. It's rather big too, so it's can fit all the fucking caffeine drugs that apparently are just, how is this shit legal is a real question. So I'm just going to polish this off really quickly here. Wow, that is some awful coffee that I got from the supermarket this morning. Got my meats and feeling good. Okay, cool. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, we're having a sale on all of the program stuff in like another day or two, or maybe 2 days. Yeah, in a couple days. Don't buy anything right now. It's going to be like 20% cheaper, and if you can just have a bit of patience for the next like 48 hours or whatever, or I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. Whatever it is, it's coming soon. Okay, so just don't buy anything right now. Save yourself a few bucks. Hopefully. All right, cool. So let me actually start recording this over here. Here we have Bitcoin. I'd like to do a quick little analysis on this one, as we do see some very interesting things going on, specifically on CME. So of course, CME is doing what? We have this descending not descending triangle, but descending channel that we've been working on for the past 3 weeks now, and we are once again approaching the top side resistance of it. Now, this is the most interesting place to be at right now, as we are approaching what would be an actual validation of breakout to the upside condition, which was 49,300-ish region. Now, We're going to come at spot price action in a second here and suggest that maybe there's a bit of a different way to be looking at this. But for right now, this is as usual the most useful chart in my opinion. And any sort of a closure above that last local high right here, as represented by that, of course, red X, would validate that. And there would be a measure move to be made on this as well, of course. And it's going to be pointed up somewhere around about, about $54,000, which Bitcoin very likely does make a move towards there if upon validation of that condition. Of course, as yesterday, I want to follow up on all of the lower term time frame signals that we were looking at. We did see multiple drives of bullish divergence all the way up to, I believe, even a daily. In fact, let me just double check over here. Yes, we do. We do have a drive of phantom divergence building right there, which will be confirmed all the way up to a daily, and of course already confirmed on the shorter term timeframes, getting that nice short term move with any sort of a closure basically above the last high of yesterday. In fact, about anywhere above $48,000 will do it for me. And then yes, I would be looking for the technical target, which I usually do look for in this case, which would be right around the 21 at minimum, which is right around just above $51,000, which would obviously then fulfill the shorter term timeframe criteria for this as a falling channel. And falling channels do have a decent hit rate for Bitcoin on CME specifically. It's in the mid to low 60s, which actually doesn't sound that great, but it actually is pretty damn good compared to most other patterns. But in this case, very, 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 very nice right there. I also want to follow up on, of course, the MACD signal over here that we are following up on. And yes, we did officially cross it to the upside coming in from the last 36 hours, and it will remain with upside posture as long as we are above 44,800, which is good because you see that the number is now actually descending as price action goes up, and it already has the cross the upside. So momentum continues to rise, and if we do see essentially a break of that current formation, that would be momentum plus breaking an actual short-term time frame trend, and that obviously has greater implications for the long term. And if we take this one step further, of which we can go back on over here to the daily stochastic momentum signal on CME. We've been following up on this one for the past couple weeks now. It's finally coming to fruition, and well, I guess I'll go through the full rigmarole yet again. And basically, this signal is very similar, or it's not just very similar, it is completely the same thing as what we've seen from the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these blue vertical bars representing those iterations, where essentially the daily stochastic momentum comes down to base off of the green horizontal bar right here. However, as you can see, I marked off 3 of them with the red signature, which I'm actually going to remove my face for just a second right there. There you go. Those are the 3 that I'm specifically focusing on right here, as they are much more similar to each other than the other iterations. But even the other iterations, which were put in on very, very nasty downside, markets with weekly downtrends, which we do not have right now. As long as Bitcoin's above $40,000, Bitcoin does not have this same sort of structure. Obviously, these did produce some pretty impressive rallies, as you can see, even back on over here in the depths of a very, 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 very heavy bear market. Even the least impressive result of this did almost produce about a 30% move to the upside, and obviously all of the other ones were about double that at minimum. So why do I have these other 3 ones marked off? Well, first and foremost, we do see similar patterns. So we have an ascending triangle right here, we have ascending triangle right here, and we have ascending triangle presumably right here. Again, assuming that Bitcoin essentially just remains above the last weekly high or low, so that is all good in the hood right there. And also we do see the signature itself is a lot more similar to those ones. So I want you to put this one in your mind's eye. I'm going to get rid of that for right now. We see this first base off the green horizontal, gets rejected, comes back down, bases again, rejection yet again, and then bases for a third time, and so far so good. We really just want to see this one continue onwards and upwards above the critical zone now, kind of where I had it from yesterday, and then above this last little rejective high right there. Obviously, I do feel that this is, compelling, but is it a more of a formality or not, especially if Bitcoin does start to break the 49,300 high that we did speak about on CME earlier? Yeah, I do think so, quite honestly, because what we're going to go over in spot price action does look rather interesting. So again, put that sort of this sort of signature in your mind's eye, because we're going to go back to March 2020, and that was this iteration right here where Bitcoin played out the flu dump, obviously, and then once we actually got that second base off the green horizontal, Bitcoin never looked back after that. I mean, obviously, we've never traded below 5,000 since that time, and well, realistically, this was just a straight moonshot for the next year or so. Now you could argue that just the first move itself did produce about 100% gainer right there. Obviously, over time, significantly more than that. I wouldn't necessarily say that, we're destined for 100% from this region, but the time before that, where we saw a very similar signature, even more similar than the flu dump one, was here in December 2018 on the 3100 macro cycle low. Again, first base, reject, second base, reject, third base, off to the fucking races. And whilst it did take a long time after that, in this case, about a couple months or 2 to 3 months, again, Bitcoin had a phenomenal run from that region, producing from 4,000 all the way up to 14,000 for a 233% move right there. So very, 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 very impressive stuff. And right now, just kind of waiting for this one to come to fruition, because those are the most relevant signatures that we have seen in the past. And this is a fractal of a signal in that essence. So let's now talk about the setup on, of course, spot price action over here. And this one's a little bit different, obviously. So we denoted yesterday that over the weekend, we already had a lower high printed in at about 48,300, as denoted by this horizontal right here. And I did say that if Bitcoin does trade above that region, that would be a little bit of an early signature, a little bit of an early warning that we're going to see that breakout to the upside. Before CME condition is met. And in this case, obviously that has already been met, and that is, well, good, if you will. Now, technically speaking, you really do want to see the last 49,300-ish level still taken out. But if you are trading off of something like this, now what would be an invalidation and sort of the, hopefully the usefulness, of an analysis like this is to come actually not just with, crazy targets and shit like that, but also what would invalidate this as a setup? Well, now it would be coming back down and closing below essentially that last lower swing high on a closing basis, which was 47,700. As long as that condition is not met, I do look for essentially upside momentum on all the things that we spoke about earlier to take over. And again, the underlying market dynamics are certainly more in line with that as well. So let's go over here and start it off with, of course, the fear and greed index, which we've been following up on for the last 3 weeks now. It's actually more than over 3 weeks. And again, anytime that we've been within the fearful zone, in this case, 25 would definitely be a fearful read right there. In fact, just below that is extreme fear, has been aligned with some pretty major lows in Bitcoin land. Doesn't mean that you can't stay down there for a long time. For example, we did see about 2 to 3 months on the summer lows at 30,000 bucks on the last macro cycle low. And then, of course, the more recent one at 40,000 bucks spent about 2 weeks down there. So again, we're within the context of that. And it does, align with the likelihood that we're probably looking at a nice base first and foremost with a nice rally off this region before anything else. And targeted, in targeted regions, the upside very likely do get smashed first before any sort of, a major catastrophe on price action to the downside. But I do want to call out a few things over here as well. The global funding rate still a little bit below parity. So that does mean that on some exchanges, you probably are even getting paid to hodl your longs. Anything below 0.01%, it does suggest that there's a little bit more aggressiveness on the short side than the long side in this case. But ultimately, these are very, 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 very minimal numbers right here. So it's not like a, humongous thing to be pointing out, but it's just one more, small 1% thing that kind of aligns a little bit more with a Bula-ish resolution, as we've kind of been saying from this region. The real question was, does Bitcoin hold about 45 or 46,000 bucks, or come down to like 43,000 bucks first? At the end of the day, a $2,000 move on an asset that trades at like $50,000 to $60,000, that's probably noise to most people, I do imagine. Now, I do want to call this one out yet again. The global leverage ratio and the global open interest both ticking up right there. And there's a massive discrepancy in the way that the global leverage ratio is ticking up in comparison to the open interest. So open interest made an ever so slight move. I think we've gained about just under $1 billion in the last few days here, or really realistically in the last couple of weeks here, which is, significant, but we're talking about a number that can get all the way up to almost 16 to 17 billion, which we've seen at the all-time highs before. And more importantly, the global leverage ratio over here represents that, there is a massive discrepancy between leverage positions on exchanges versus the spot holdings on exchanges. And you can see that this is pretty much at all-time highs yet again. So what does this align with? If the leverage ratio is going up like this, and the open interest is barely going up, well, the first assumption would be that the exchange's reserves continues to dwindle, which is exactly what we see over here. We've seen consistent outflows from exchanges, which does imply hodling activity. But then the real question is, okay, if leverage is truly in control right now, which it certainly is, or at least, it usually is, so this is nothing like new, obviously. But if leverage is in control, which side is being more aggressive? Well, going off of the global funding rate over here, that would suggest that the the, of course, short side is being a little more aggressive right now, likely with a lot of trap positions, I imagine, below, especially like the $48,000 region. So I do like that as a pivot, or basically that last little lower high that we did see from over the weekend on 19th of December at about 47,700 or so. So as long as Bitcoin is above there, I do look at this as a basing and, well, and reversal point. And we're kind of seeing it in progress right now. And that is essentially my invalidation for that. And until that gets hit, I do look for everything else to kind of play back up. Now, keep in mind that when we do go back on over here and look at CME, we are just playing up to the top side of this descending channel trend line, which, you know, very likely does pull back a little bit from this region. Again, that is not problematic. What would be problematic is confirming yet again another lower high right here on CME, and then coming back down specifically below what we saw on spot price action over the weekend. I wouldn't necessarily call out a full-on downside melt to 42 or 43,000 bucks based off that, but I would be looking for at minimum another test of the bottom side of our range yet again. And it's just the same fucking thing that we've been seeing for 3 weeks now. Yeah, I mean, it's been very generous to range traders recently, but I think that we are looking for a resolution today. Why am I saying that? Because we also do see on the daily over here, daily BBWP has been coiling up basically since we hit our December meltdown right here. So when BBWP gets very, very low like this, the last few iterations I think are very telling. In this case, we saw this, we actually are seeing them lower than what we saw in the last, somewhat lowish read. And that was precipitating this major move down from about 59,000 bucks all the way to kind of where we're at right now for a 22% move. Obviously, the time before that was precipitating this meltdown from the all-time high on that first major move down to the next consolidation base of about a 20% move as well. Of course, the time before that was also met with a downside move. This is not always going to happen, by the way. Volatility is direction neutral, but in this case, the volatility is coming to the downside, of course, and you do see that this one did produce almost a 20% move right there as well. And then the same thing over here on this first move, another 20% move down. Again, it's not always going to be like this. And then, of course, the time before that was on the macro cycle low thus far at 30,000 bucks, where Bitcoin did put in the massive bear trap from basically 30,000 all the way up to 53,000 unabated, and then continued onwards and upwards from there. So again, I want to be very directly clear in stating this. PBWP, or volatility in general, is of course direction neutral. That's why we look at momentum oscillators in addition to it, alongside trend, to kind of generate a bias on where that volatility is going to expand towards. But in this case, I do think that we probably see that expansion come to the upside with that minimum a test somewhere around the 21 exponential average, which is just below 50,000 bucks. So obviously that's going to have a greater, or at least avalanche of effects going onwards and forwards from here. Let me just make sure that everything's updated over there. Okay, we are over there. Great. And let's see. So I think that is pretty much what I want to say right there. We got over validation conditions. We got over invalidation conditions. We spoke about the fractal signals that we're kind of looking at right there, plus momentum, plus volatility. I think that's pretty much everything that I want to speak about right there. Maybe we had a 2-day closure last night. No, we did not. Or yes, we did. And actually that will have some bullish divergence as well, or will on the next closure, assuming that we close anywhere here or higher above about 48,000 bucks. You will get one strike of bullish divergence, which will have basically the same target, somewhere around 51 to 52,000 bucks. And then of course the 5-day is closing today, and the 5-day is yet again salvaging itself on the green 55 exponential average. And there's something actually very, very important about this that I completely just whiffed, and I'm glad that we're going to end on this one as well. But basically, if the 5-day completes a local low right here, which it is not done just yet, and we'll talk about what would be needed in order to complete a local low right there, we would have yet again another higher low around the 55 exponential average, and also we'd have hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point, as we already are making significantly lower lows on 5-day RSI, which is a rather important time frame. In fact, I like it even more than the weekly, and that very likely does beget continuation at minimum to the mid $50,000 territory. So with all of that said, what would complete this as a local low here? Well, is it likely to happen today? I wouldn't necessarily say today, but if it was going to be today, I'd need to see Bitcoin close above like $50,000. However, coming into the next 5-day period, if you basically see Bitcoin pop back up above the current range highs, which is basically that $51,000 number actually, well, that would do it for me. And I think that's where I'll leave this one right here. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Bitcoin, sirs and zers. Nicely done. All right, nicely done if I do say so myself. I got some more coffee over here. It's like I congratulate myself after spewing it out, baby. There we go. Feels good, man. Feels real good. Why are you so fucking creepy? Sir, you have sex with me, so good luck with that. Like, oh yeah. This coffee tastes real good. Yeah, you're a fucking furry over there. All right, let's turn on the alerts for right now. I think it's time to get deep and down and dirty into the comment section. All right, cool. Let's see what we got going on over here. And all right, so we got that. I think we got, yeah, I think we got everything today. Okay, so let me just go through again. The way that we've changed the comments, going onwards and forwards as of last week is that we go through them in terms of value first so that, you know, we can reward people who actually are putting in more than not, because it just seems more fair to me. Anyways, oh, there he is, Josh. Namaste indeed, sir. Ethereum USD 12-hour daily. This sideways bullshit BBWP on the floor. Some action, please. Either way, resolve this already. Let's go check it out, man. And this would be definitely one worth recording. Let's go over here to Ethereum. It's actually looking like it's put in a higher low right there. So let's see. Is my chart still working on this one? Oh, it's still working. How does that shit work? Craziness, man. Fucking craziness. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. We'll look at this one versus both the dollar and actually Bitcoin pairing here, because I do think that both are equally as interesting right now. And Ethereum versus the dollar is starting to put in the ever highly esteemed, what's known as a higher low right there. Would confirm this as a higher low. I'm talking about this low in comparison to this low. That would be a daily closure, basically back above, especially 4,100 would do it for me. But if you want to be even a little bit more aggressive than that, well, no, I would not be more aggressive than that. 4,100 is essentially what I'd be waiting for right there. And we do have several drives of bullish evidence come off the low right there. Daily R side has plenty of tests into the bearish control zone, all rejected. So typically speaking, you do see a little bit of upside after that. BBWP, as Josh did correctly say, is on the ever-loving floor right there. So we are very likely looking at a move probably today, maybe even the next couple days at latest, I imagine. And if we do go over to the last few iterations of low BBWP, of course, I do have to state this as always. BBWP is direction neutral, but the last time we saw this low was of course coming in from our last major high at 14th of November, before this shredding downside move of about 17.5%, and then basing it, going lower over time from there. Turn down the alert for right now. And of course the time before that was actually met with some upside price action, as you can see right here, from this move from about 3,400 base all the way up to basically its all-time high at 42.5%. So we are looking at very likely a big basing of price action right here. I believe the 5-day is closing tonight as well, and I'd put specific interest on this because as long as this thing is above the 21 exponential average, I still look at this as, I mean, it's hard to be looking for a major break. It's hard to be looking for a major breakdown of this as long as that condition is met. And more importantly, if you're just going off of this from a classical TA perspective, which I'm not a humongous guy myself in that, but it does work. Obviously, I mean, several people use it and create fortunes, I guess. But you're basically just retesting your prior all-time high, and fair enough. I mean, that's that should be a basing point, technically speaking. So all of that looks good. I believe we would also have potential. No, we would not have potential hidden bullish evidence on a weekly if it puts in there, nor would we have it on the 5-day. So there goes that point that I was about to make. And what would be an invalidation of this? Well, first things first, we haven't necessarily validated the condition for reversal just yet here. 4,100 is a big area that I'd be waiting for. If you're using a 4-hour, I'd be waiting for basically this area right here. A little bit higher than this, actually. Basically where the 4-hour 200 simple is at about 41.30. Any sort of a closure above there would also do it. Until then, I'm probably just waiting for the daily. We do see that 4-hour jewel is actually giving a little bit of an upside posturing, which is good, obviously. And what was the other point that I was going to make? Invalidation. What would invalidate this as a potential good setup? Well, again, it's not actually validated yet, so that kind of goes out the wayside, but below 39.20 would certainly invalidate it for the short term with good posturing. And then if we go over here to our stochastic momentum, I do imagine that it's turning up right now and will remain with upside curvature as long as Ethereum does close today above $4,004, which is currently trading literally at right now. It's a long day left to go, obviously, until 7 p.m. Eastern time, but the 12 hours already precipitating that, and with upside momentum as long as above 39.24. 4-hour is freshly crossing up above 38.20. 2-hour is already up as well, 39.40, the magical number right there, and hourly is flippy floppy at 40.10. So a little bit of short-term sideways here, obviously, but assuming that those closing prices are met, that would look really, really good for Ethereum having a nice, a nice major low in alongside that higher low, and targets back up towards 43 to 4,400 bucks would be very much relevant upon those validations. Now let's go check out Ethereum Bitcoin pairing as well, because we expect this one to be generally operating well or good if Ethereum USD is also going to be doing the same. And in this case, still playing out a range right here. I still like this one long term as long as you do remain above that basically 7.75 million Satoshi region. Short term, does it come down in range towards the lows? Probably yes. That's not problematic. Problems only arise below 7.75 million Satoshis. And yes, this one does very likely come down short term. I would not be looking for any sort of major breakout towards new highs on this rally, or at least first test towards like 9 million Satoshis, as long as you're below about 8.5 million Satoshis. But for right now, that is going to be considered good. And remember that the weekly and 5-day both closed, exactly kind of where you want it to see, giving your first essential pullback retest after the big bad breakout, which we are looking at over the past 5-6 months, actually, from May being resolved more recently in November, December, essentially. So all of that essentially does play with each other. Be aware of where the invalidations are. However, all of these do look, like they're in striking distance, which is essentially the best time to be paying attention, at least in my opinion. So hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, and also Ethereum versus the Bitcoin pairing. I'm going to turn that off. Beautiful. And let me, I think I got one more sippy sip right here. There we go. There we fucking go. All right, let's see who's next. I think we have, oh my God, man, there's a lot going on right now, man. There is a lot going on today. I think we got Mr. Sidhu next. He says, hey, thank you for that, man. That's, I really appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate that. That was very generous of you. And, yeah, man. I mean, look, I can always look. I'm definitely going to be wrong, but what you can always count on is you are getting my honest opinion on price action. Like that is something that I can always be adherent to. It's just, I'm going to be wrong, of course, from time to time. Sometimes, sometimes more than others. But yeah, man, that's the thing is like most people on the YouTubes, like that is their main business. That is their main form of income. So they kind of have to be, or they're at least incentivized to be always bullish and always like exuberantly bullish, because there's like a race to the fucking bottom as to who, can have the most ridiculous price targets, because that does get views, man. It really does. I've done some studies on it on my own channel. And it works. It definitely does work. But I don't necessarily need to do that. So that's, why I'm kind of in a bit more of a free space right there. So yeah, man, that's my promise to you, but I don't promise to always be right. Banksy Rules, what's up, man? Please review the super farm chart. Review the chart. Sure. Can you shed some light on the early investor vesting schedules? Sir, that's not a fucking chart, man. Sorry. But I can only look at charts, man. I don't know about the fundamentals of these projects. I know Elliot, obviously, I know that he's very passionate about this project, and I know that he has very big plans with it. The investor schedule, I don't fucking know about that, man. I look at charts, sir. But at the end of the day, what is this thing doing over here? Very similar to Ethereum, very similar to Bitcoin. You do have potentially a higher low being printed in right here. What would confirm that? Back above 135. And you're probably going to ask, but Krown, if you don't know about the early investor vesting schedules, how could you know what the fuck the analysis should be? Sir, it's always in the charts, man. I mean, those people are making, of course, their decisions, beforehand. And where do they show their decisions? In the charts, man. In the fucking charts. But yeah, as far as this goes, I do look at this as a base back above $1. It's the same thing as what we've been looking at for the past, 3 weeks here. I guess my LARP lines are still working on this one. Not that they have to be exactly like this, but what would confirm this as a local low? Just back above 135 on a daily closure. I'd be looking for this thing to reclaim, 160 to 175, and this thing starts to look a lot better. But for right now, needs to essentially, I wouldn't say needs to, price action doesn't need to do shit. It will do whatever the fuck it wants to. But if you want to see, or if you want to confirm a local low, you'd be expecting a daily closure above about 135 definitely before the end of this week, probably within the next 48 hours, if you see something like that. And yeah, momentum oscillators are more within that guise as well. We do obviously see BBWP on the floor here too. So this one's been coiling up and rather mature within its consolidation. I would only get bearish on this thing, the same as before, below 107 on a daily closure. I do look for this thing to come down significantly towards 80 to 85 cents, which is a rather big move on a $1 number. But for right now, it's going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. So if Bitcoin breaks out to the upside here, you probably find this thing back above, $1.50, and the rest is history after that, I guess. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for that, sir. Nice one. What the fuck am I reading over here? Oh my God. Okay, sorry about that. I think we got Hex Outlaw next. What's up, man? Good morning to you. Can you check out Hex USD on the 4-hour and weekly? Santa bought me some massive green dildos early. Yeah, man, I was actually looking at that one earlier, man. It actually had a really, really good move right there. So we did, or not we, but Hex got above its last 27 cent lower high. So that does open up the possibility, or not a possibility, but the likelihood of a move into the mid to low 30s, which is kind of where we're at right now, actually. So Where's the next area that I'd be a little bit cautious at? We're getting very, very close there, but about 33 to 34 cents or so is kind of where I'd be looking towards. Very likely a pullback from that region, and then base is lower and then gives another try to the upside. I like the weekly on this one for another try to the upside overall. We do see these drives of hidden bullish evidence over here still looking good, but I stick with what I've been saying over the past, over the past few weeks here. This first move up, very, very likely, but assuming that you don't see any sort of weekly closures above about 35 cents, I do look for this one long term to come down significantly, man. So overall, I know many get a lot of shit about this because the Hex crew is fucking militant and crazy, and I don't know why the fuck they bother watching these videos to begin with if they're just going to be bullish on it no matter what. No offense, I know that there's also some great people from the Hex crew. Toby and yourself have been extremely nice to me and extremely generous to me and very, very just good people, but man, there's something like very weird about these gang-like mentalities with these cryptos. Look, I still think it's going to go up here. I still think you got some more upside here, to be quite honest with you, but at the end of the day, man, this is a parabolic blow off top, and I think at best you're going to be going sideways for a while. Even if this thing does end up being bullish, you're probably looking at a range between about 35 cents and probably like 20 cents over the next few months here. I'd really only start to shed those beliefs back above that region on a weekly closure. Until then, short term, still continues with the upside. There's a really good response right here, but I'd still be cognizant of course, the long-term look on this one. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Hex Sir. What would invalidate the short-term bullishness? I think that's maybe a relevant question as well. Below about a quarter, below about 25 cents, I would look for this one to base back down somewhere between 19 to 20 cents after that. Until then, short-term is still upside, man. It's this is a pretty damn powerful move right there, which very likely does get more continuation, maybe for like the next week or two, something like that, and then I'll be looking. Well, fair enough. Anyways, let's see. Jesus Christ, man. All right, let me just find where we left off over here. Okay, I think we got USPCC. He says, hello, CoinDaddy. CoinDaddy's actually a rapper, man, and he's a pretty damn good rapper. He has that song Tone Vase, I think. It was very, very popular back in 2017, which certainly back because you're asking about Monero. Monero on the weekly and monthly. Okay, XMRUSD over here. Let's see what this one's doing on the weekly and monthly. So very high term timeframes. Let's see what the weekly's got right here. I mean, you're getting a pity bounce off your last weekly low. Obviously, it's kind of sad to see Monero did not really do that well, because I always kind of looked at it as one of the more legitimate altcoins. I don't like the monthly, don't like the monthly at all. But look, as long as Bitcoin does have some short-term upside, so will this thing as well. Still, however, where's your big bad area to be aware of on something like this? That'll be back above your last daily range highs of 215. Above there, this thing very likely does go on a nice run towards 240 to 250 or so. Weekly, do we have the same sort of shit going on here? Basically, yes, but just by looking at weekly structure right here, I do think that you bounce to kind of end the year somewhere around 215 or so, and then come back to it after that. That's assuming that Bitcoin does remain with its decentish posturing for the short term here. Monthly, however, has me very concerned for the long term. I mean, any sort of a monthly closure like below $200 is at minimum going to retest, your 165 lows, and probably does trade lower over time from there if that condition is met. But for right now, as long as Bitcoin has some short-term good posturing, everything in the market kind of gets to follow it. I'm just very surprised to see that Monero did not do too well. Basically since I last watched it, which was 2017, 2018. I always thought of it as one of the more legitimate altcoins, basically. So maybe it's kind of lost its position as that. I imagine that short-term timeframes all have bullish evidence around here. Yeah, we should have 1, 2, 3 drives there. Just want to see this one close above the 21 today, which is $200 actually. So I like that as a good pivot right there. Let's see. Super Goolily says, what does he say? He says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Can we have a look at Matic BTC? Yeah, absolutely, man. This one would be worth looking at versus both USD and BTC. Do you mind if we look at both these pairs? Because I actually quite like this one right here. All right, let's get rid of the LARP line's actually still kind of working, but at the end of the day, let's just get through it. Here we have Polygon, symbol MATIC, versus the dollar, and this one having a really good response alongside Bitcoin's short-term momentum here. Still want to see this one actually close above 230. Overall, though, I like this. It's one of the better charts across cryptocurrency land. The question is, do we have another move back down towards about the 190 or $2 base or so? I don't have a strong opinion on that one. My strong opinion is on any sort of a closure above 230, and I look for this one to retest your prior highs of this rally at 260. And very likely initiate a more long-term move over the following weeks towards the $3-ish region. This one is still, among the best charts in cryptocurrency land. We got a 5-day closing today, 5-day closure anywhere above, basically that same 230-ish number. It's just an uptrend, man. It's just a continuation of trend right here, looking really, really good. 5-day RSI continues to operate in the bullish control zone. I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about this chart, especially as long as you're above 185 prior lows. Sideways and up is the name of the game. Yesterday, we got a bit of a pullback down towards our $2 target. I mean, that's kind of what we were looking for. I don't really have anything to add on to that. This thing is still looking more or less good with another drive of hidden bullish evidence on that last 4-hour low. Let's just briefly check it out over here, and then we'll look at it versus the Bitcoin pairing as you did ask for. Let me just pull it up right there. There we go. On Binance, daily, what do we have right here? Daily does remember its upside posture as long as above 212 in this case. 4-hour 209. So all of that looking good in the hood. I think this one actually might make a move today. In fact, this one's a little bit more mature than what I first considered, I believe, because yesterday I was probably looking for this one to trade more sideways, and we got another day of sideways, but it's looking like this one's actually might even give a try today, especially if Bitcoin trades back above 50,000 bucks. This one very likely breaks out and gives a nice healthy move. Anyways, versus the Bitcoin pairing, 4-hour time frame or lower term time frames, looking for some upside somewhere around about 48.50 or last highs of this current, of that last short term rally. Daily, same thing, kind of. Wouldn't mind another move down to 4,200 overall. That doesn't really destroy anything. This thing is long-term bullish versus Bitcoin as long as above about 38.50. It's kind of the problem with this one right now. It's like, are you immediately bullish, or does this one range a little bit more first? 5-day says more immediately bullish, as does the weekly. I'm going to go with the higher term time frames. So perhaps you do not get that next move back down to 42, 40-ish region. My main disposition there would just be that that's still good. It's still just another higher low. So shorter term time frame is actually kind of taking over right here. I'd be looking for another retest of your highs. And well, if you do want to kind of have a bias buster on the short term time frames, 44, 80-ish regions where I'd be looking for. Below there, I do look for that next move down to 42 and some odd change, whatever it was before. That'd still just be another higher low though. So all time frames on this one are trending and are bullish. Just does it have another short term downside move or not? Maybe that's relevant to you, maybe that's not. I don't know, as I don't think you actually included timeframes, but overall, pretty damn good chart here, especially coming to the end of this month and end of this year. The monthly is, in a really, really good place long term for very likely new I wouldn't maybe say necessarily new all-time highs in January, but very likely another continuation on this drive into January, and then maybe new all-time highs like late January, early February, something like that. This is one of the, among the better charts that we have seen. In fact, the bi-weekly is kind of already broken out here too. So, I will respect the higher term timeframes. I just don't know if they're relevant to you or not. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for it, Matic Sir. Nice one, man. All right, sweet. Let's see. Where else do we have? Okay. All right. This is a great one over here. And this is not fucking true as well. Art Vanderlei says, you did tell us not to buy and to have patience for when Bitcoin comes down to $43,500 to $44,000. Not fucking true. I said that that's a possibility, and it's based off of an actual range break, which Bitcoin did not get on CME. This is the problem with looking at this channel as a signals channel. It's not intended to be. And also, I don't know what your fucking strategy is, man. So it would be very unwise to just be blindly following anything, which apparently, and no offense, but you're not interpreting correctly to begin with. So I need to be very direct, and I need to be very aggressive about this, not because I'm trying to be mean or ignorant towards you, but because I want to really not I want to be very clear about something like this, man, because it's fucking dangerous, obviously, especially if you don't understand the analysis to begin with. But my point is, first off, if you were looking for that move, the range break never happened on CME, which we went over very specifically into last week. And then, of course, we did speak about all of the, upside signals that we were looking for. And then, well, they happened. So it's like you missed both of those right there. And then also, this is not a fucking signals channel. I do not trade for you, nor do I, of course, have the same sort of trading preferences as you or investment. I don't know if you're even investing or trading. I don't know if you're trading a 5-minute or a fucking 15-minute or a 5-day or a daily. There's no way to know that, which are all going to play into long-term sort of, or just not long-term, but any sort of a strategy. It's irrelevant. It's I don't know, man. Maybe I shouldn't go too deep into that one, but I do want to just be very clear for anyone else who's listening, who might be kind of thinking in that same direction, that they, know that that's not what this is for. Anyways, cool. All right, so we got through that. Let's see what the next one is. All right, it's like you told us, like, Jesus Christ, man. Oh my God. Where do I start with on this one? Community's getting too big, man. Community's getting too big, but you got to appreciate the OGs. Strange says, cheers, Krown and Elsa. That is all. Cheers to you as well, sir. Cheers to you as well, man. Much love, sir. Much love indeed, and happy holidays to everyone out there. Let's see. So is it buy or sell? Is it buy or sell? Bear Nutrition. Is it buy or sell? Krown, tell me, is it fuck or not right now? We didn't go down to $44,000. We told me fuck, and it was not fuck. I waited for fuck. There was no fuck. Sir, you need to wait for confirmation of fuck before fuck happens, sir. For the love of fucking God, man. Jesus Christ. All right, cool. It's also like literally financial advice, which is quite literally illegal. So yeah. All right, Crypto X Cyclops. Nice, man. Nice name. It's a hard one to get out as well. Hey, Krown, what's up, man? Will you take a peek at XPR Proton? New to the channel, loving the content. Keep it up. Thanks, man. I've no intent to stop anytime soon, man. This is like my fun highlight of the day, to be quite honest with you. That and Jim. What? Oh yeah, hanging out with Elsa is also cool, I guess. I don't know what time frames are going off of. You got to be very specific with time frames. XPR, I'm never going to like a chart like this, to be honest with you, long term. But then again, it's probably a newer chart. It's only kind of been born within the last sort of downtrend, it looks like. Short term, do we have a nice low in here? It's going to follow whatever Bitcoin does as usual. I imagine that you got some bullish evidence building. Indeed, you do. We got one, two, we actually got like 4 drives building in right there. What would confirm this as bullish drives coming off the lows? Any sort of a daily closure, basically above the 1935-ish region, which will have targets very likely back up towards 21 and a half to 22 cents. First speaking, do I think that we stop there? Probably not. No, this thing looks like it's kind of poised to put in a nice upside move. Problem is, you're not really going off of much for the long term, and I don't know what time frames you're going off of here either. But short term, would invalidate this anywhere below your last local low at 17. Is that 17 cents or 1.7? 1.7. Sorry. Overall, though, you know, not really much to make out of the chart long term. It's easier to go with whatever Bitcoin does, and Bitcoin has very clean and obvious ranges right here, of which, well, doesn't need to be anything more complicated than that. I imagine that altcoins are just going to, you know, follow in Bitcoin's footsteps in varying degrees of strength as usual. Cool. All right, so we got through that one. Let me see. What do we have next? We got Jack Jansen next. Says near USD on the 4-hour and daily. Sure, man. All right, let's see. Near USD right there. Huh? That was Crypto X Cyclops, actually. All right, cool. Let's see. Okay, near USD 4-hour. Looks my LARP lines are still working right there. Looks like it actually is going to try for a higher low right here. You know, you can kind of see that most things in this market are doing something relatively the same. I need to actually make sure that my trading account is open over here, because we might actually see some action during this stream, and I would not like to miss said action. All right, cool. Let's see. What about a 4-hour over here? Yeah, it looks like another higher low to me, man. I imagine that you got nothing right there, but 4-hour jewel should swing around for an actual signal. It is already supported by DMI, which is good. Where's your next like major area to be aware of? Obviously, that's going to be your last little swing high at $9.50. Above there, that really does start to solidify this one as not just a higher low, but a major low, and very likely does beget continuation back up towards $10.50, $11. Still, can't get too excited about this one for the long term, as long as you're below 12.35. But obviously, putting in a higher low right here is like the first step towards something like that. And also, I would not, I'd not get bearish on something like this as long as you're below 720. So fair enough, man. Overall, one of the, I wouldn't say it's like one of the better charts, but well, for the long term, it's actually just been in a general uptrend. So yeah, I guess one of the better charts right there. Again, don't necessarily know what time frames you want to be going off of right here, but if I did have to, talk about the short-term time frames, I do think it's going to make a move towards 9.5 and probably close above there, and then initiate another move like, buck and a half higher. Looks pretty decent right there. For what it's worth. All right, let me see. What else did I miss over here? Okay, I think we got everything right there. Beautiful. Nice. We got Mr. Peter. What's up, Mr. Peter? Thanks, man. Hey, man, my pleasure. It's all good. It's really, really fulfilling to be speaking to a community like this where like people actually happen to give a fuck about, the nuanced analysis. Of course, not everyone's going to be like that. You can't expect that. And I've really come to terms that once the community gets large like this, which is just mind blowing to me to begin with. I mean, we have over 2,000 people watching right now with 1,000 likes on the video. Like, what the fuck do you make out of that? This place started with like 10 people watching, it's really a pleasure to be doing it with people like that. But I've understood that, as inevitably as the place gets bigger and bigger, it's a statistical certainty that, of course, some people are, not going to gel well with that and shit like that. So it makes me really appreciate the people who actually do. And that seems like it's you. So thank you, man. That's awesome. And happy holidays to you, Mr. Shekhar M. Good morning to you, man. Thank you for the mostly altruistic, selfish altruism throughout the year, Sir Krown. Hey, man, my pleasure, man. It's just the best way to go about life. If we all do that, we all, of course, help ourselves, and we help the person next to us, or maybe even more people than that. It has a ripple of effects, and then the sum is greater than the whole, right? I mean, that's a rising tide lifts all ships. I mean, these are the things that I believe strongly in, because you want to be helping yourself, you want to be helping other people. And if you can do both at the same time, you're helping yourself directly by and you're also helping yourself indirectly by helping other people. I mean, it always comes back. Like, you're only as one of the things that I learned like very young that my father told me, like one of the most important things was you're only as good as your weakest link. And it was like in relationship to, talking about like sports, because I used to play baseball. And that one really stuck with me. And it's like, that makes 100% sense in all facets of life. You're only as good as your weakest link. So you do want to be watching out for the guy next to you. And I mean, hope for the best, obviously. Anyways, we have Mr. Long-Term Investor there. I think I know what you're looking for, sir. BTS, BTC. Is this BitShares? Oh my God, man. BitShares. This is one of the first cryptos that I traded when I first came over to cryptocurrency land. And it also made me very unhappy with altcoins. Oh my God, man. Look at this monstrosity. Holy shit. I remember this. I remember this back from 2017. It went to the moon and then crashed back down to the floor. This is what a pump and dump looks like, my friend. However, it looks to me like it's only been dumping for the last few years here. Again, man, if we're looking for looking for a reversal, whales accumulating. Don't do this to me, man. Don't do this to me, man. The whales are accumulating. What are the whales accumulating here for? Maybe another pump and dump? I mean, maybe. But that's all this thing will ever have. It looks like. Look, whales accumulating. I mean, look, man. This is garbage. To be honest with you, trade that 70 satoshis. It's been only going down basically since inception. This is just hot garbage. Is there going to be another pump and dump at some point? Probably yes. I think best it does to the upside is maybe like 700 satoshis, which is literally a 10x from where you're at right now. But that's hopeful and wishful thinking, man. So I don't know if like you're legitimately interested in this chart or not, or if you just wanted to call it as like a shitty 2017 or actually really back to like 2014 chart. But I actually followed this one in 2017, and well. It's just been all downhill from there, man. Yeah, this is just garbage. Look, is there going to be another pump or dump? Probably. Look, if Bitcoin goes parabolic or does anything interesting to the upside in the next few months here, it probably does get another upside move. But this is only a pump and dump. I suspect that there will never be any sort of long-term sustained price action because there's never been any of that for the last 6-7 years. And that is alongside multiple bull and bear cycles for the general market. It's just a terrible sign when you ever see something like this ever. It's never a fucking good sign, man. So it's like, will there be? Maybe, but that's not real trading in my opinion. And who the hell knows how long you might be waiting for something like that as well. It's a better idea to be getting, if you really want to play the pump and dump game, the best way to do it, and I can't believe I'm fucking talking about this right now, but the best way to play the pump and dump game would be to, of course, do it on something that's more new, because you don't have all of the built up supply from all of the past 6-7 years of just people getting wrecked after wrecked for thinking kind of in the same way as you are right now. And so that can allow it to actually go up a little bit more. But in this case, yeah, you probably get another pump and dump, man. But just a god awful chart, man. A god awful chart. I would not be the first person to call a reversal on that for any reason at all. And where would you even need to get above in order to consider like long-term macro reversals? 1733, which is from your current price action about a 2,500% move. Take that as you will. Take that as you will, sir. All right, cool. Yes.
Can you check the last one from the Mad Catter? That's the one I deleted yesterday.
Oh, there we go. Okay, the Mad Catter. Oh, nice one. Okay, and thank you for remembering that, man. Of course, Elsa apologizes, or at least I apologize on her behalf. You blame me. I missed it when it happened live last, but it was for GameStop. Okay, GameStop. All right, GameStop. Let's see what we got over here. Still bearish on this one, man, long term. The problem is, though, I still think this thing's going to take longer. I actually don't think you're going to break down from here as well. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Yeah, monthly should bounce up a little bit more into the end of the year, probably somewhere around 175 to maybe even 190 or so. You're asking about a 4-hour and a daily, however. Daily, yeah, a little bit of a local low right here. Very likely trades back up towards 170 before end of year, I'd imagine. 4-hour, same thing. I would even call like a greater low above about 185 with targets back up towards 200 to 205 region if that condition is met. While I do think that this one does break down long term and very likely finds its way back down somewhere around $50, maybe even lower than that over time, it's still going to take like another 4 to 6 months, I imagine. In short term, this one very likely does try for a bounce here. I'm just curious what the quarterly looks like. just to see. As we are coming into the end of the year here, yeah, this is very, 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 very likely a long-term macro top, which it'll never trade above again. But that doesn't mean it's just going to shoot down from where it's at right now. It's very likely to bounce here again, I imagine, playing off those range lows. So if you're just asking about the 4-hour daily, yeah, I think that it bounced a little bit more here. Again, Bitcoin's kind of bouncing on a turnaround Tuesday. You're probably going to see most things bounce today across all assets in U.S. equities and of course cryptocurrency land as well. So cool. All right, nice one. And there he is, Josh again. Yo, did I start the Benjamin trend on your channel? I don't know. Elsa Prada. Oh, Elsa's told you about the Prada fund, man. One gaming stream, dude. It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing. I have all the free time in the world, but I don't have any free time. It's so weird, man. Like. Well, I mean, I don't need. That's the problem. Is I don't need to trade, but I've just been having a lot of fun recently with it, so I haven't really been into gaming recently. Yeah, man, I haven't been on Twitch or done any gaming in like weeks now. So yeah, man, at some point we'll get back on, dude. At some point we'll get back on. It's too much fun, but for right now, I don't know, man. I've just been having a lot of fun trading, man. I've been like reignited with my passion with it, so that's kind of been where I've been spending my time recently. How long do we have in this next 4 hour? 1 hour and 4 seconds to go. All right, Toby Leong is next. He says ZHIHU. Okay, ZHIHU. This is a stock, or at least I believe it is. Yes, it is on Nicey. Okay, got it. 4 hour and daily. How do you identify the bottom? I have this stock just unlocked. What do you mean unlocked? But it already breaks down. Wonder when I should sell. I mean, most things in stock market are gonna, yeah, this is garbage right here, man. This is just distribution, so they're using you as exit liquidity. Looks like it got listed when? March? Yeah, this is not fucking good, man. This is really, really not good, but you're probably gonna try for a bounce today, I imagine. This thing is long-term macro bearish. No talks of anything resembling a reversal as long as it's below 750. That is kind of your distribution breakdown right there. I imagine that you probably get some pity bounces, maybe back up somewhere around $6, maybe even as much as $7 on a really nice move, assuming that general markets get to kind of float up into the end of the year here. But yeah, man, not great right there, man. Not great. I'm curious, as this is already on linear, where would the distributive target be on something like this? It's going to be, yeah, probably much lower. Let's see how low this one probably does trade towards. Yeah, probably looking at a target long-term towards $2.40 to $2.50. So short-term bouncy. Again, I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. If you're on a 4 hour, I mean, the 4 hour is actually a breakdown right here. Maybe I'm providing you with a little bit too much hopium, man. Hourly probably bounced up a little bit more today. I mean, the general narrative of this thing is heavily bearish below 750. I do think it probably tries for a bounce into end of year. Anything around $7 is like a gift from God, in my opinion. Not a great chart right here. What is this name, by the way? ZIHH. Is it a Chinese company by chance? Because my experience with Chinese companies is minimal, but the experience that I do have is terrible, fucking terrible, man. So perhaps I'll just leave that right there, but I don't necessarily exactly know what you mean by it just got unlocked. Like, did you, well, yeah, I'd have to wait for confirmation on exactly what you mean by that, but yeah, be aware of charts that only go down, man. It's going to be a long time before they put in any sort of a macro base and reverse for the long term. So I don't know if that's relevant to you or not, if you're in it for like the, years to come, essentially. Which even then, I mean, it's a long way back up, man. It's a long way back up. Okay, so we got through all of that. Let's see. I think we are now on to Mr. Anyway, Crypto Bros. I think we got that one earlier. That was Toby Leong, the first one there. And we already did Hex as well. Yeah, I do think that it continues a little bit more over the next like week and a half, week to 2 weeks, probably tries for a move into like the mid 30s. The question is, do you close above that 35-cent region or not? If not, well, I'm looking for that one to range back down at best, to be honest with you. Let's see. Okay, we have. Oh, nice. I like how you're doing the conversions on the currencies as well. That's really, really good. It is really helpful. We got John Thurmond next. Says XHV. This one rings a bell from like a very long time ago. Haven. Yeah. Holy shit, this thing's still around. Oh man, what sort of monstrosity of a chart is this thing gonna be? Oh god damn. Oh no, we have even more. Hey, it actually did okay in 2021. Much better than what I would have expected, man. This thing in comparison to BitShares, for example, while This one is still pumping up as well. At least it had a nice pump in 2021. Terrible though, absolutely terrible. It is a pumping up after all. Long term, massively fucking bearish as long as you're below 18.5 cents. But are you likely to bounce off of your prior lows from this cycle? Yes, I do think so. Similar to Bitcoin, I don't think that this thing's going to break down alongside a Bitcoin breakout to the upside here. But where's your short-term area to be aware of? That'd be right here. Obviously, that's kind of like the same relevancy of the 49,300-ish region for Bitcoin. So that would be basically $6 in this case. Back above there, I do look for this one to go on a nice rally, probably somewhere. Actually, probably pretty nice rally into the mid sevens, maybe even $8 region. After that, obviously, I guess I would be looking for new lows below about 429. But to me, you probably do have a nice base in here for now. Probably have some bullish evidence being built up on a daily in this case. You know, it's very, 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 very likely to get a pity bounce off of your last major low. So in this case, you're probably doing something like that, but definitely relatively weak. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this and then maybe try an upside move. It's not until you get back above that region right there where this one's like macro bullish and does do another pump and dump phase. But, you know, again, another chart that just pumps up and dumps down. I mean, this is never a good sign ever. Never a good sign long term. But doesn't mean that you can't have another pump and dump again, to be fair. Just recognize that it is a pump and dump, you know. So hopefully that's helpful, man. And there you go. All right, sweet. We got Tom Struck next. It says Power, another 2017 shitcoin. Holy fuck. This is a blast from the past. This is a Superman coin. I remember this one. Vividly from 2017. Tuning into Superman when I first started following this market. It was very interesting. Anyways, 4-hour and daily best wish from Tasmania. Hey, best wishes from Helsinki, sir. Yeah, that's what I expected to see. Again, look, this is never a good sign. Never a fucking good sign. But if you're on a 4-hour daily, what does it look like right here? Probably puts in another bounce from this current 39 cent base or so. Short-term targets up to 47 to 49 cents are completely fine. I imagine 4-hour doing the same thing. Got a little bit of a higher low right there. So that would be a bit of an invalidation as well to the downside below basically 40 cents even. Until then, going to follow the rest of the market, just not as strong. I mean, technically speaking, you should be looking at like 44.5 to 45 cents as another lower high. But look, if Bitcoin pushes through, you very likely find this thing back up somewhere around 50 cents or so. It would be the next major area. And then we could come back to it after that. Again, look, even though this thing is a pump and dump, it's more likely to try another rally off this region right here before any sort of more prolonged long-term downside action. But again, just easy to watch Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ranges are a lot more clean and clear. And that one, you know, will very likely play off that just in a less strong fashion. So I wouldn't be too aggressive with something like that, but hopefully that's helpful, man. Cool. Okay, we got that. Tom Struck says Dusk versus Ethereum at 4-hour and daily, please. Sure. Okay, Dusk. Remember we looked at this one a couple times last week, versus Ethereum, and it was okay. Unfortunately, we can't pull it up versus Ethereum. I can do it versus the dollar, I believe, or at least I believe we did that last week. Yeah. Yeah, not bad right there. Not bad. Daily, another higher low. Hidden bullish evidence on that higher low. Short term's a little bit of sideways, but if you're on a 4-hour and daily, I imagine you're probably not too concerned with this. This is actually one of the better charts as well here, man. No majors with this thing, man. Although it is in a short-term time frame range, long-term it is in a bit of a trending posturing, basically between about 44.5 cent to the lows versus about 61.5 cent to the highs. Short term, does it trade a little bit of sideways and down and maybe give a stab towards like 48 or 47.5 cents? Maybe yes. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. Basically boils down to short term sideways. Probably does give another try towards 61.5 cents above there. I look for a new all-time highs on this thing, probably to the tune of probably into the mid to low 70s after that point, with potential for more over time. This is actually one of the better charts that we've looked at today, to be fair. Yeah, not bad at all. Let me actually write this one down. Might be worth following up on tomorrow, in fact. Cool. All right, so we got that. Yes.
Did you do super Googly's other question?
Let's see. No, I did not. Oh, okay, I didn't. I didn't see that one. My apologies. Mr. Gooley says one more important question, sir. All right. Is it true that derivative exchanges affiliated YouTubers to get rewarded if people use their links, lose, or get liquidated? Okay, so the way that it works. Oh, by the way, I have my own shill link right there for Bybit in case you happen to give a fuck. But basically, the way that it works is at least on my. I can only speak towards my link because I don't know the specifics of other people's links. But the way that it works is that the the payouts or the commissions are essentially done off of a market taker basis. So you get paid off of that. So yes, you would get paid obviously if someone gets liquidated, because they will be a taker on that on that trade. But you don't just get paid, or at least I don't just get paid from that if people get liquidated. No, just from making trades, it actually builds it up. I should probably at some point I should actually probably show what my payouts are. It's not good. It's not good. But the problem is that I also don't really shill it hard enough in order to have like a big number there. But I do know that some people who have been doing it since like 2019 and especially 2020, they were making like a Bitcoin a day with their referrals. So I don't know if they have the same setup as me or not, but I can speak towards my setup. It just goes off of market taker fees. So obviously, yes, if people do get liquidated, you do get rewarded, but that's you don't just get rewarded for that. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, and it has nothing to do with losing. Like, you can obviously make good trades with market orders. Just it only goes off of market orders if you're a taker, essentially. Cool. All right, sweet. Let's go over here. I think MDIS is next. Oh, there he is. Sir, Bradley said in 2022, my ripples are going to get regulatory clarity. Can you see a case based on 2021 structure where XRP trends back to all-time highs in 2022? I mean, XRP, for all the hate that it gets, it still remains in a macro uptrend, and it still holds its higher lows over a very long period of time. I'll say something completely that maybe people won't be expecting here, but this chart for Ripple is better than 90 to 95% of all altcoins that have been around, since its inception in 2015 or even 2017 for that matter. You can see that, yes, it does have these catastrophic, nasty downside moves, but it does actually hold the higher lows and significantly higher lows here too. So that does, that does bode well for the long term compared to like other charts that we looked at from 2017 that were just straight fucking down, right? Ripple actually does have a better chart than all of them. And would I be saying that it potentially has a good 2022? I mean, look at this, man. You have your next weekly higher low in the making right here. Any sort of a weekly closure above 98 cents would 100% solidify that and likely imply moves back up towards 120 to 1.25. And then what is this? I mean, okay, so for the long term, this is one massive reaccumulation here, basically between June 2018, resolved more recently in March 2021. And then in the short term, what do we have right here? We have a reaccumulation actually in this higher low fashion. We have a higher low on the weekly, presumably. Now, of course, that does offer a bit of invalidation. That's going to be below about 76 cents on a weekly. But until that happens, man, I mean, it's technically good long term. It's just, people like to make fun of Ripple, obviously, and I'm not going to be speaking about the fundamentals here. That's not my place to do so, nor should I be looked at as anything, nor should I be looked at as anyone who should be qualified to speak about fundamentals. But as far as charts go, it would kind of suggest that, yes, just going to take its time. And here's the thing, and here's where people are going to push back on something like this, which fair enough, this is a very legitimate point. Look, while Ripple is mostly going sideways over the last few years, most things and their mothers have been putting in, multiple X's to the upside, not even percentage gains to the upside, but X's, whereas Ripple, not really. So it's kind of, if you're thinking in terms of opportunity cost, it's, hasn't been great. In fact, it's not that it just hasn't been great, it's been bad. So fair enough right there. But yeah, I could definitely see from a charting perspective what he's talking about, and I would agree with him as well. Actually, I'd agree with him as well. So cool. All right, let's see. Let's pop back up over here. Who? Noah 97. Where do I don't actually see him. Oh yeah, I see him. No, he's not next though. No, he's not, because I haven't done these people above him. Let's see. We have Mr. Lemon who's next. AVAX USD. He's actually very, very soon though. All right, well, fair enough. Okay, that is a good point. I actually didn't consider that. AVAX should probably record one on this one as well. Yeah, still liking this chart right here, man. Still liking this chart a lot. Here we have Avalanche, symbol AVAX versus the dollar. Let me get rid of this because that is not relevant. But overall, what did we see yesterday? We see just a nice spike down to our $100 support and upwards and onwards from there, looking good. However, I would actually move down this precipice right there. for a bit of an upside breakout above about 121 and a half on a daily closure. Above there, I actually do look for this thing to retest officially its last closing all-time high, somewhere around about $1.35, and very likely does push onwards and forwards from there over the next few weeks or so, with new all-time highs implied, probably somewhere around 175 to maybe even $200 long term. With that in mind, yesterday's spike low is now going to be an invalidation for daily bullishness, immediate trend bullishness. That is, that would be again about 101. On a wick low below there, I do look for this one to come back down into prior range lows. Still be actually good long term. The only place that this thing actually loses its long term good posture is below about $81 on a daily closure in this case. Until then, weekly I imagine has another drive of hidden bullish divergence. It does, and you're pretty much already at all time highs. Volatility looks like it's going to be start to tick up again here too. I'm a lot more biased towards an upside resolution on this one than not. 5 day, same shit. 5 day hidden bullish evidence will be confirmed later tonight with any sort of a closure above 110. It looks like. Very likely does gun towards those towards those prior highs within the next 5 to 10 days following that upon validation. So that all looks good. As always, be aware of where the invalidation is, but this one, among the better charts that we've seen today. Again, 4 hour momentum remains the upside as long as above 104, so that looks good for right now. 12 hour is going to be up above 118, so a little bit of flippy floppy right there, and daily is actually a little bit hot right there too at about 101.70. I'm curious what the 5 day looks like. We'll actually turn back up today upon closure above 114, so I'd actually be waiting for that. Until then, I mean, this thing is, among the better charts here. I do think, however, it's probably going to range a little bit more in its current trajectory. Sets up for a good 5 day closure later tonight, and then over the next 5 to 10 days, you actually do see that move occur. But that's just personal opinion. If you see it actually close above 121 and a half, even on a 4, I would be looking for that move, I guess, sooner rather than later. Until then, it's among the best charts. Just, is this one ready right now or not? I'd probably be waiting still, like within the next 5 to 10 days, but overall pretty damn good right there, and hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for AVAX, sir. Nice, man. All right, we got that. Yeah, Space Chase. Hi, Krown. Do you manage long-term buys 2+ years the same way you do in a swing trade? Again, I don't invest like that. The way that I do it, and well, you probably just weren't around yesterday when I explained it, but all good. But the way that I do it is that, so ever since 2017, I haven't had any need to take, money out of this market. So what I do is I take all of my all my profits from trading and put them into a cold wallet essentially. And I just hold it. And I consider that like a long-term hold, which I have no intent to touch for at least 5 to 10 years. And probably even longer than that, unless if I absolutely need it, which I don't have any need for it right now or anytime soon. So I don't think that way. So if you're asking me what I do for long-term buys 2+ years, this is not going to be relevant to you, because that's not what I'm doing. So you're saying, do you do it the same way that you get on a swing trade? Okay, so if I understand what you're asking properly, I can put it into terms of what is relevant to you. And basically what you're asking is, in the situation where you would be trading for long term or investing for long term, like 2 years plus, right? So this is basically hodling type of stuff. How would you get into those trades? Well, I would actually just be using the same strategies that I use for trend trades on lower term timeframes, so just apply them to higher term timeframes. So let's say maybe not a weekly, but perhaps like a bi-weekly or a monthly is what I'd be waiting for over here. If I'm thinking 2 years down the road, then I'm probably trading the Krown cross strategy or some sort of a moving average cross strategy on probably a monthly, maybe at lowest a weekly. And in this case, I mean, yeah, I guess the weekly actually does kind of account for the next couple of years rather well. So maybe we just cut it into the middle and use a bi-weekly, but it's more about the time frame that I apply that strategy on rather than just a strategy itself. So yeah. Do you look for the same type of confirmations on higher term timeframes? Yeah, I'm just basically applying it to a higher term timeframe. That's basically all that it boils down to. Cool. Matthew Stanislaw says, I think we need to hear the old Lexington Steel playback. I'll give you a shitty chart. Oh, don't do this to me right now, man. XDN or Bcash. I'm actually curious to see what Bcash is doing nowadays. I haven't looked at this one in a long time, man. Oh God. Fucking hell, man. And this is on log scale too. Jesus, man. This is what the real chart looks like. It's a dead heartbeat, man. It is a dead heartbeat. It's very much, it's the Lexington Steel has to be organic, sir. It has to be organic. And in this case, this thing is organically terrible as far as charts go. Man, talk about trending towards zero. I mean, the crazy thing about this is that, back in 2017 in October, when they were talking about like the whole, Bcash versus Bitcoin wars, I mean, there was a lot of people who were led to believe that this really was the real Bitcoin. And I think that they've been sorely, surprised that in the last few years, it's only gone down about 96.5%. So, you know what? We shouldn't be so bearish on something like this, because obviously you only need about 3,300% to break even yet again. It just got awful, man, though. I mean, again, this is why I'm always going to be bearish on a chart that looks like this. Like, yeah, you're probably going to get your pumps and dumps, over a long period of time, but best it does to the upside, probably somewhere around like 1,500, maybe 1,600 if it's lucky. Just terrible, man. Just really, 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 really bad. So, these sorts of charts I like to avoid. It's just kind of like the wrong sort of interpretation. It's like you don't need to trade a shitty chart like this and hope for a pump and dump. You can just trade like a chart that actually looks good and you might get an actual pump that gets sustained. But yeah, man, you already know where I'm going with that one, man. You already know where I'm going with that one, sir. All right, let's see. Venom Incorporated says, as you trade and take profits, you mentioned you buy Bitcoin and hold it in a separate account. Is your Bitcoin your only long-term hold? No, I do it with Ethereum as well. And every once in a while, some shit coins. If I'm kind of compelled by them, not like actual shit coins, but like ones that kind of might have a future, like Solana and AVAX, for example. HBAR 4-hour daily on KuCoin. Okay, this is Herderpa hash graph. Let's see what this one's doing today. Let's see. You said 4-hour and daily, huh? Yeah, good move right there, man. It's actually very good relative move right there. Let's see. Let's put this one on. Do I have a chart for this one? I do have a chart for this one, but I guess I haven't looked at it in a while. You're at essentially the next level that I'd be looking for. Let's see. Are we likely to put in a local high here or not? You know what? I'd actually mark this area off. No, not that high, right around here. Actually would be bullish on this one as long as you're above about 2770. I do think it's going to spend some time consolidating around this region, but technically speaking, you need to see this one close above on a daily time frame, no less, 32.5 cents, and then I'd be looking for it to reclaim back around your prior range highs at 38 to 39 cents or so over time. Long term, again, this is like the opposite. This is like the antithesis of the prior charts that we've been looking at, where it generally goes up and to the right, which is a really, really good sign. So if you're gonna play like pump and dump games, you probably want to do it on something that looks like this. Long term, you do have higher lows, obviously. Just put another higher low right there. So I wouldn't mind a bit of short term sideways here, but anything that's sideways above 2773, really, really good. Below 2773, I do look for this one to come back down and base around its prior lows. I'll still be looking for another low structure right there, to be honest with you. The question is, does this one push through right here, like from this exact region or not? I'd be, again, looking at Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does push through 49,300, you're very likely going to see this one be one of the bigger beneficiaries, because it is short-term relatively strong. You see this move already happening over here, whereas Bitcoin is still within its daily range. So this one would be on the relatively strong side of of the equation. So any sort of strength in Bitcoin, this one very likely outperforms to the upside. And probably looking at upper 30s after that. And long term, it'd just be generally good. Very, very long term, I don't think that you're looking at anything super exciting here, because you're probably going to be in this reaccumulation for a very long time. I mean, at least until like Q1 of 2022, I imagine, and probably more like end of Q2 2022, to be honest with you. But still, that would be a long-term good thing. So yeah, cool. What? Noah, yes. Okay, where is he? Trying to read HTR USD daily trending more or reach top of the range. All right, let's check it out. HTR, this is Hathor. Looked at this one yesterday. It was actually good yesterday, so let's see where it's at today. Okay, so it's at the top side of the range. Yes, I agree with you. Is it taking out the top side of the range? Let's see. It technically has on my chart right there, but I don't know how what's it called? Yeah, I wasn't very delicate with the way that I placed that. If you're on a 4-hour, it got very, very close. You should be using the wick high. If you're going to be using a lower term time frame like that, that would be 194.5. So above there on a 4-hour closure, I would be looking for this one to continue with current short-term momentum towards 211 to probably like 215 or so. Let's see, what about the daily? You're probably talking about the greater move here, huh? Let's go to a daily RSI. Daily RSI is getting its first test into the bullish control zone. Typically, your first test into the bullish control zone after being away from it for a long time does get pushed back. So I'm a lot more inclined to say that it ranges a little bit more around the highs here first. That's fine, though. That's good. I mean, again, this one is among the stronger charts that we've seen today, certainly, and yesterday and the day prior than that as well. Puts in another weekly higher low right here. Beautiful. Long term, I suspect that long term, very, very likely suspect you continue on with a long-term rally. Let's go over to a 5-day. 5-day is going to be closing today. I mean, the 5-day probably does push through here, you know, in the next 5 to 10 days. Does that allow for a little bit of more short-term sideways consolidation here? Absolutely, yes. Again, I wouldn't mind this thing coming back down short-term to like 168, maybe even 155. But if your question quite literally is has this one actually broken above your current range highs? No, it has not. That'd still be 194.5. I think I did this one maybe for like a weekly. Yeah, I charted this one for a weekly earlier, and that's why it was a little bit lower. But above there, yeah, I basically look for this one to retest the size and probably go for a new all-time high party. Again, this is a relatively strong one. It's had a phenomenal move right here. 5-day would be the next one to be watching. If you do see the 5-day close above, especially 194, 195 region, it's going to be good enough as well, man. And probably tries for prior all-time highs within the next 5 days from there, and over the next 10 days, probably even guns for some new all-time highs, man. These are among the stronger charts. Monthly, I think we looked at, yeah, we did look at this one yesterday. I definitely remember this vividly. Monthly comes down, back test, back up. I mean, this is good. Very likely does try for new all-time highs. Maybe at the end of this month, probably more like January. But overall, you know, one of the more strong ones. If your question quite literally is it ready from here? If Bitcoin pushes through, you're probably going to see this thing push through, like I guess in the next 24 to 36 hours. If not, I'm kind of looking for this one to trade a little bit more sideways and down from here, which is still good long term. Just, you know, sets it up for a move probably more around the end of this year, or sorry, beginning of 2022. Rather than exactly immediately. So I know that's not too helpful, but at the end of the day, that's why I'd be a little bit more conservative if I am trading short-term timeframes on this one. Cool. ICE V, where? Oh, ICE V. Oh, ICE V, ICV. Are you sure? Okay. All right. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. KSM USD weekly and 4 hour. Gotcha. All right, Kusama. Could you also stop spamming as well? It's going to drive Elsa and our lovely moderators absolutely fucking crazy. Let's see. Weekly and 4 hour. Definitely on the weaker side compared to Bitcoin here. You can see it's not even above its short-term 4 hour high, in fact, but probably does put in an upside move from here, to be fair. If you're on you're looking at a 4 hour and a weekly, why the fuck? Those are quite the differences in time frames. Very likely does trade up towards 275 or so short term. Technically speaking, you shouldn't be looking at this one as a reversal in progress until you're back above about 280 in this case. You know, if Bitcoin pushes through here, it's probably going to push through as well, and you probably do find this one back around your prior range highs, which is 308. Weekly, as you asked for, you know, you're getting a bounce off the 55 right here. It's more likely to put in a big bounce off this region. Wouldn't be surprised over the next few weeks, maybe month or so, if this thing trades back up into the mid 300s or so. But technically speaking, shouldn't be looking for that until you do take out the daily range highs, which again is that 308, 310ish number. Short term, very likely has some upside here. You know, bullish divergence drives are building up all the way up to like a daily 2-day in this case. So very likely has some upside from here. So yeah. All right, cool. Let me, Stewart is next. Where is, no, he's not. Okay. Well, fair enough. We can do that one. Hey, all good, man. Can you take a look at GCP, Great Land Gold? Okay. GCP. Oh, I'm like brainwashed in order to put USD after them all. Very good move right there. What is this? What is this thing? You're back at your prior weekly range highs. So I don't know. Did you put in the time frame? Yeah, you did a daily. Okay, fair enough. Does 9p look possible? I don't know what 9p is. Maybe you're looking at this on London Stock Exchange. Maybe you're talking about this one. Wait, you said Great Land Gold. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Okay, Great Land Gold. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, yes, that makes a lot more sense. A lot more sense. Is 9p possible? I do think that you're going to be putting in a nice bounce relatively soon. Is 9p, like, is that 9 down here? Maybe longer term, yes, but I do think that you're going to bounce first before that. Kind of similar to basically all markets right now. Maybe one more slight move to the downside, somewhere around about 1170 to 1175 or so. I'd be looking for a bounce before anything else. Long term, does it come down to that 9 number? I guess that's what you're saying. I don't know this terminology, man. This is beyond my English abilities, but I'd be looking at that, like next major based to the downside at about $10.50 after a bit of a short term bounce here. I don't know if that's again relevant to you or not. This literally looks like a parabolic blow off top, which yeah, probably does reach down there over time. So fair enough. I'm curious how much it's come down already though. 69.5%. Jesus, man. Great number right there though. All right, sweet. All right, let's see. Where do we live off over here before us? What? No, just sir. No, no. It is Michael Saskin who's next. He says, "Hey, good evening to you. Luna BTC daily and weekly." Okay. Yeah, but it's about the same anyways. So let me just go through it in that fashion because it'd be a little bit easier for me to do. Otherwise, you have to like calculate every single last one. Anyways, looking at Luna BTC, that's about as good as it can get. Just goes up, man. Just goes up right there. 4 hour and okay. Oh, daily and weekly actually. Daily is obviously trending right now, but you will be creating some bearish divergence on the next local high met, very, very likely. How would you create a local high from here? Any sort of a daily, just even coming back down below 15,850, and I'll be looking for this one to range back down towards 13,700 or so. But overall, it's again among the best charts here. Weekly still trending, man. So long term, any sort of a pullback, short term, very likely gets bought back on up, and I'll be looking for new all-time highs maybe into the end of this year, but very likely January as well. Question is, do we pull back first down to like 13,600 or not? I don't know if that's relevant to you, seeing as you are on a weekly. 4 hour does say pull back first, very likely towards 14,500 or so. Yeah, short term very likely does pull back, but if you're just on a weekly, long term very, 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 very good. And I don't think that this run is done like here. I think that you're just going to pull back short term and then try for some more upside into end of year, early 2022. Really, really good right there. Again, among the best charts in cryptocurrency land. Cool. All right, we got that. Okay, let's see. Luna versus the dollar now. All right, we'll just hit all Lunas. All Lunas we'll be talking about.
Is it Echoes?
Yes.
He changed his request to
No, oh, okay, I see. NOK. Okay, you want to look at Nokia? All right. Okay. Nokia. We can look at this one on Nicey. All right, and you're looking at a daily and weekly. Daily. Bit of a consolidation range, but this is good. This is actually quite good. Something like this, what I'd be looking for. Guess I chart this one on the weekly, but it does imply a little bit of short-term downside. I don't know if that's relevant to you, however, because you're on a daily and weekly. Weekly, long-term good. I wouldn't mind another move down to like 570 to 575, but this is very likely a bullish consolidation long-term. Just want to see it close above about 615 on a weekly, and I'll be looking for big moves up towards. Well, big moves up, respectively speaking, probably somewhere around like low 7s to mid 7s or so after that. Multiple drives of hidden bullish divergences coming off the lows right here. Long term, not a big fan of that chart, but I do think that you're getting ready for, I do think that you're getting ready to try another upside move from this base. Just short term, probably trades a little more sideways and down from here. Bullish as long as you're above 560 in this case. Sweet. All right. We got that. I think it is time, unless we got a new one. No, we do not. So we have Mr. P2E. Good morning to you, man. Whale versus Ethereum on Uniswap. Okay. This is not one I've ever heard of before. So Whale coin. That's a great name for a cryptocurrency there. And tell me if there's a chance to exit the market higher. Or should I dump it now? Well, there's always a chance to exit the market higher, but this is something that, again, this is a pump and dump chart, right? This is a pump and dump chart. So you're basically just hoping and praying for the next basically pump. And I mean, that's not real trading, nor is it real investing, in my opinion. Do you get another bounce off of like 30 million butyrols? Probably yes, but I mean, exit the market higher. Like, how high are you looking here? I wouldn't be looking for. I think best you do to the upside on a hopium pump and dump is somewhere around like 62 million butyrols or some shit like that. It's a terrible chart though, man. Look, you have to be thinking in opportunity cost. Like, how long does it take for something like this to put in another pump and dump phase? I don't. There's no way to fucking know that. There's no way to fucking know that. All we know is that this thing is absolute garbage here. So. every second that you remain in something like this where it's not really doing fuck all is another second that you miss being in something that could actually be moving in your direction. I mean, not only that, but just probably being in, you know, dollars is probably better than this thing to begin with. So yeah, if your question quite literally is there a chance that you could exit the market higher? Yes, absolutely. Is it going to happen anytime soon? No way to know. This is a pump and dump piece of shit, and I'd probably avoid this thing like the plague. Radio Knife says, thoughts on CRA Kradabda? It's a gaming altcoin that is part of the AVAX ecosystem. Okay, let's see. How the fuck do you say that, man? That's a real question. How do you say that? I guess we have to look at it versus AVAX in this case. We'll go to Trader Joe. Not much history here, man. Not much history here. But I guess we've looked at this one before. We got to bounce off of our prior all-time low, or our prior, major lows. So again, this is kind of what you expect off that region. And actually, this one is putting in a nice little low right here. I do think that this one probably pushes through. Where's your next major region to be aware of to the upside on a daily is 0.01 AVAXs, I guess. Above there, I look for this thing to trade back up towards 0.125 region. This would actually look pretty damn good. Obvious invalidation below yesterday's low at 751, whatever the fuck that number is, with implied retest towards your current lows. But for right now, I do think that this one does try higher from here. Actually, this one's not bad. Yeah, 4 hours, an obvious reaccumulation right there. Probably going to push on through. Not bad in the short term, but also not going off much there as well. What's up, ESO David? What's up, man? Adele. Oh, a deal. Okay, I see. Solana versus Ethereum daily and weekly. Okay, Sol ETH. All right. We go to Binance for this one. If it breaks the range, how high can it go? Okay. Well, first off, it's not close to breaking the range, man. If you're on a daily, it hasn't done it. If you're on a weekly, yeah, it hasn't done it either. Okay, hold on. Let's make sure that we're talking about the same things here. You're talking about this range high, essentially. So where would it be implied? That would be 46.65, essentially. Or just a higher wick high than your 19th of December high. How high could it potentially go after that? I mean, always infinity is the number, but the next relevant target, I think, is probably what you're asking for, is somewhere right around here at your last little breakdown level at 0.049 7-ish region. Until then, the hopium is that you're setting in a higher low right here, which is, yeah, I think it's a little more hopium right now in the short-term timeframes, but I guess you can treat it as such as long as you're above 4320. Below there, that hopium goes by the wayside, and I expect more of the same, which is down, down, down we go. Not the most obvious chart of all time, but if your question quite literally is, if you break the highs right here, where's the next relevant target? Somewhere right around there, I think, would be rather obvious. So cool. All right, now we have Mr. ESO David. He says, Elliott Wave, Wyckoff, GAN. Thoughts? Okay, so Wyckoff, definitely legitimate, very, very useful, but it's not very useful for actually trading off of. It's more useful for long-term decisions and actual analysis of an asset and where it's likely to go, because it's essentially showing you or kind of awareing you of accumulation and distribution. There's multiple ways to do it, but yeah, Wyckoff, definitely legitimate, very, very good. GAN is very, very interesting actually to me. It's something that I've been putting a little bit more research into recently, just because I have a couple of friends who trade it and they swear by it, that being Jason Pizzino and actually his brother as well, which is really, really good. He has his own YouTube channel, which is amazing. And I know several other people who use GAN as well. So yeah, I can speak towards both of those. They are validated. They are great. Elliott Wave is a different thing, however. So Elliott Wave, I think, can be useful for getting an overall idea of what the next move might look like and give you an overall understanding of kind of where you are at, which can definitely be useful. But the problem is, or at least in my personal opinion, when it comes to trading, it's best to simplify and not try to do too much ahead of yourself, because there's a million goddamn routes that price action can take. And in Elliott Wave theory, when you're trying to plot out 5 moves in advance, it typically gives people false hope and kind of a bastardized vision that's sometimes hard to let go of. So I do know some people who use it who I can assure you are very, very successful, like Fibbo Swanee. But the problem is that he's not using it as a main driver, and I don't know anyone who uses it as a main driver. I just know people. I can just speak towards people who are successful with it, but they use it as kind of a general guideline. It's hey, if this move happens, this is kind of what I'm thinking more long term. This is what it probably is going to look like, which is essentially a trading plan. plan. But for me, when it comes to trading, I want to be simplified. I want to be boiling down things into, you know, just the minimum possible. And so Elliott wave for me is not relevant just because you're trying to do way too fucking much. And for the most part, and just like any sort of technical analysis, no matter which vein you're coming at it from, the problem with Elliott wave is that most of the people who do it, like it's just awful. And so I used to be really, really against Elliott wave because when I came into this market in 2016, 2017, it was extremely popular in cryptocurrency market. Before that, I'd never really heard too much about it, to be honest with you. And I've been trading long before that. And so a lot of people are using it in 2016 and 2017. And they were always giving like these just insane, ridiculous targets to the upside and eventually to the downside as well. And they were always fucking wrong. And it was always terrible. But does that mean that the theory itself is invalidated, or were they just not applying it appropriately? Probably the latter in that case. So, you know, I've kind of let go of my more strong opinions on it. But at the same time, I would always caution against like trying to visualize what price action is going to do, and rather just let price action tell you what it's going to do and then respond accordingly. That's where I know that I have my edge. But if you're just trying to like, you know, visualize what things are going to do before they even happen, it gets into like a weird area where usually I haven't seen it work out too well, to be honest with you. So yeah, so all good. Yeah, what's up? From a deal, can you check on OK Exchange instead of Binance on daily, weekly? For Solana, Ethereum, I guess. Let's see if there's like. So this is not the same thing. Oh, it is. Okay, it's the same chart. If you're on a daily and weekly, okay. So if you're on a weekly, I don't know if you're talking about the range highs like. For the current consolidation that you're in, that would be, again, that 4,700 number. Or if you're on a weekly, you're talking about this area right here, most likely at around 53,900 or so. If you're talking about this one, then the target's going to be much different, because resolving above this range high right here, at that point, the only thing that I can do is draw some fibs from there, and I'd be looking at minimum towards 0.06 to 700 and over time, maybe you do make a leg up into the two spots. But yeah, you got a long way left to go. And again, for validation above that, if you're talking about the weekly, not the daily, then it'd be 53,900 in this case. So yeah, cool. All right. Where did I leave off? Right there. We have Mr. B Bullish next. Says, Krown, I sent those 10 biddies and I'm waiting for those 20 back. Wait. Oh, oh fuck. I forgot to mention again the goddamn Instagram scammers. Motherfucker. Well, it's probably too late to talk about it now, but yeah. Instagram, yeah, I'm not, I don't have a million fucking accounts. I'm not trying to trade your goddamn account. I'm not trying to get you to download whatever stupid software that's probably a keylogger that's probably going to get you hacked and ruin your life. It's not me. It's not fucking me. Please, for the love of God, do not give these people money. It's probably not going to end out too well. Anyways, you want to look at One Harmony. Got it. Thank you for reminding me of that, man. Completely forgot. Shit. Whoopsies. All right, we got Harmony 1 over here. What time frame? Sorry, 4 hour and daily. The tried and true. Same range as yesterday. Still overall good as long as you're within this range, but hard to get excited about as long as you're below about 26.32 cent right there. Above there, I do look for this one to go on a nice little run towards the probably the shallow 30s or so, and this thing just looks like your next macro high or low, which the weekly kind of already is showing you to begin with. I imagine you also have hidden bullish divergence right here. You do, so that's good. If you're on a 4 hour time frame, basically the same thing. You know, I wouldn't front run an actual range breakout until you get back above 26.32 on a 4 hour closure minimum. Then short term targets would be about 28 cents for what it's worth. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. Short term invalidation on short term trending bullishness is below about 21.35. At that point, I do look for another run towards your 18 cent lows. I don't think that's what's happening exactly from here, but overall, this is a good setup. I'm just not necessarily convinced that it's ready like this exact moment. If you're looking at a 5-day right here, you do have hidden bullish evidence potential. Just needs to close today, basically here or higher, and that would look pretty damn good coming into the next 5 to 10 days for very likely a range resolution to the upside. Cool. All right, I think we got Mr. Nico Kazian next. Okay, we got Kumarasian. Hopefully I'm saying that properly, man. Man, that is a hell of a last name. Soundarajan? It's like hooked on phonics. Soundarajan. Am I saying that properly? Sorry, man. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just like that's That is the longest name I've ever seen in my life. That's insane. Hey, Krown. No problem, man. Actually, we're just looking at... Oh, no, we weren't looking at dot. We were looking at one. Okay, similar 3-letter name right there. You're looking at a daily and weekly projection into 2022. Let me get out my crystal ball. Definitely one of the weaker ones. Most of the market is kind of bouncing where it's at right now. I expect that this one will very likely as well. Where does this one start to look a lot better at? I'd need to see this one really above about $30.50, and then I'd be looking for 2022 to trade back up towards the upper 30s, like 38 to $40ish dollars region. But again, this is not. It's not relatively strong, which is the problem here. So I'm not looking for this one to like have the best 2022. But hey, basically back above your last daily high side of the range, which is like 28.5, I believe. Let me just double check on the daily. I said 28.5 on a 5-day. On a daily, it's technically like 30 and a quarter. So I'd be looking for 2022 to open up on a pretty nice bouncy bounce, we'll call it, into like the $38.5 to $40 region. Other than that, though, if you're asking me to kind of basically like crystal ball it into 2022, that's not what technical analysis is, unfortunately. My crystal ball will be broken, sir. But if I had to call it from right here, you probably bounce up into early 2022, anywhere around, upper 30s to low 40s is probably fair game, and then come back to it after that. This thing is just not strong on its own. So whatever Bitcoin does, this thing's going to follow, but not as strongly, obviously. So, if Bitcoin has a good early 2022, you very likely find this one back into like the probably like $40 or so, and then come back to it after that. I think the hopium right now is that you're doing something like this long term, where you're putting in a higher low right there on the weekly, I guess. But I think at best, this thing's going, consolidating within this region for the next couple months minimum. At worst, you probably break below about 22 bucks and initiate big moves down to 17 and a half region. Other than that, I don't really have any major opinion on it. Other than that, this one's just a follower of Bitcoin, not strong. Anyways, Nico KZN says, can you check out Cake on the daily? So this pancake swap. See what the old cakes are doing over here. Another one that's pretty relatively weak as well. You can see that just hanging on to its lows for dear life. But just like most of this market, probably going to bounce around here. Again, easy to watch Bitcoin. I imagine I charted this one on the 4 hour before. I did. It's actually dancing around on that 4 hour area. If you do see a break below this region on a 4 hour closing basis, that's going to be about $11.90. I would be looking for this one to give another move back down somewhere around $11.50 first. Again, it is very much relatively weak here. Bitcoin back above like 49,300. This thing probably does make a move towards 1469 to 1470 or so. Long term, where do you start to look at this as like a major macro low? That talk doesn't happen at all until you're back above about 16 and a half bucks. Until then, it's a lot of hopium right here. It's relatively weak, man. If Bitcoin shows any weakness short term, this thing very likely comes back down and tests around current lows. Not a big fan of this chart, man, on its own. But is it going to break down? If Bitcoin doesn't break down, no. Or unlikely, I'd say. Is it going to have a massive move to the upside? If Bitcoin puts in a move towards 50 bucks, it's going to have a move to the upside very likely, but just not as much. Long term, I imagine you're very much interested in this, probably long term based off your question. It's hard to get excited about something like this as long as you're below like $22. So a 2x from here and all good in the hood. Until then, ranging on the lows at best. I'd be cognizant of like a $13 last high right there. Above there, you probably put a nice move towards 14.5, maybe even $15. Cool. All right. Let's see. Where did we leave off there? I think we are now at Mr. MT says RMRK hourly and daily. Sure. RMRK. All right. Let's see on KCoin. Okay. So compare this chart with the last one, right? This one's having a really, really good response, short term in comparison. So this one would be a little bit more on the relatively strong side. Short term very likely puts in a move towards, or a continuation move towards 40 to 40 and a half, maybe a short term pullback from there. But, if you're going off the daily right here, which I don't know if you actually care about, but if you are going off the daily, assume that you happen to give a fuck about it, any sort of a closure above that $40.50 at end of day, I'd extend those targets to the upside significantly towards about 46 to 47 or so. Hidden bullish evidence is being popular right here on the daily, so that is good. 4 hour has many drives of bullish evidence, come off the lows as well. Look, if Bitcoin pushes through here, you're very likely going to see this thing pop back up towards upper 40s or so over time. Obviously, humongous problems below basically yesterday's low. In fact, that is the most obvious area right there, with big targets down towards $28, anywhere between about 28 to 28 and a half over time after that. Cool. All right, let's see. Simply Gain says, I thought Elliott Wave was bogus, but friend turned 2,000 into 70 Bitcoin using Elliott Wave in 2018 in Discord. I mean, everything worked well in 2018, man. All you had to do was buy. I've seen plenty of people use it successfully. Yeah, I've seen some people use it successfully, but making money in a bull market, what is the old saying? Don't confuse brains with the bull market, right? So yeah, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, congratulations. I mean, that's fucking awesome. Just, everyone was making money in 2017. The market just kind of gifted it to you by simply being a part of it. Cool. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? I think we are now into the home stretch now. Let's see. BK says CRV USD. Let's see where CRV is. I think last we looked at it, I still thought that this one's like okay or good, and yeah, still good here, man. Actually, really good right there. Yeah, hey, there you go. There is your range lows now. Beautiful. Did take out the critical 375 region, initiating targets back up around your prior range highs. Beautiful at that $5 number. Sideways here again is good for the Bulas, but how long does it take? Well, this one actually has kind of a good short-term setup, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one at minimum try for another run towards, I think this was like maybe yesterday's high. No, not yesterday's high, but the 19th of December high at about 459, 460-ish region. Probably even gives another try towards the $4.95 to $5-ish region overall. Still can't get like super excited about an actual range resolution until you do close a daily doodle above there. At that point, I look for another retest of basically the highs of this rally on 25th of November and probably continuation from there, man. Again, this is just, if you're just looking at this in the most simplistic way possible on a weekly, you've retested your prior weekly highs. So far, so good. All higher lows right there. Beautiful. And, well, just looking sideways enough from here. To be honest, man, I think that this one's going to make new all-time highs early 2022. It's really good. Okay, maybe not new all-time highs because I didn't realize that you have all this over here, but you know what I mean. Like somewhere around about $10 early 2022. Still one of the better charts, actually. Very good right there. Just taking its time, and that's what trading is, man. A lot of waiting, a lot of fucking waiting. So there you go. The real G squared. He's next. Whisper in our ears and tell us everything will be okay. What? Oh, Simply Games is next. No, I literally just did that one, sir. Literally just did that one. I did all the hex ones, yes. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. You'll still be alive. You'll still wake up tomorrow. You'll still be a human. You'll still be cognizant. You might have a little bit less money, though. Then again, I think things are probably bouncing from here, man, to be honest with you. Okay, where did I leave? Bottom one, Mr. Lombardi. Mr. Lombardi, good morning, sir. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you as well. Can you check out Intel? Yeah, Intel. I love their products, man. Absolutely love their products. NAS. You're looking at a daily. Okay, let's go to a daily. Maybe not a 4-hour. Man, I would have expected the semiconductors to be operating just generally better than this, but I guess only AMD and Nvidia get to do that. I do look at this as one is very likely put in a weekly low right here and probably does trade back up towards 51.5. But what does the daily look like? Daily looks ugly, man. I was not expecting to see this. Daily says to be bearish. Daily says to be bearish right here. Hidden bearish divergence on last daily lower high. It says to be looking for a move back down to 48 to 48 and a quarter first. Look, man, I don't know how much I trust that given the weekly and the monthly right here. I'm a lot more inclined to say that it's putting in a low right here. So whether you come back down and play at another move down towards your, I don't know, did I say 48 to 48 and a half? More like 48 and a half. Look, I just look at this one as a range right here. I wouldn't complicate it more than this. Above 51, I look for this one to retest back around 55 or so. Below yesterday's low, I look for this one to reach towards your 27th of October low. Until then, higher term timeframes, I say not to, like, this is not the area to be super bearish in right now. Probably going to bounce here first based off both the weekly and the monthly. Let's go to a quarterly just to see. And quarterly does look a little bit more pulley backy long term. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one long term coming into like Q1 or Q2 of 2022, somewhere down around low 40s, like 41 to 42 bucks. But that's where I'd be looking for the macro higher low, because this is one long term reaccumulation, right? So what are you doing long term? Doing something like this, right? With your higher lows probably coming in somewhere right around there. So it probably does pull back into 2022 after a bit of a short-term bounce here. Anywhere around here would be fair game. It's just going to be another higher low and probably going to be the next macro low as well. I just think this one takes some time. So yeah, I'm not being too helpful on something like this. I do apologize So I just look at the short term as a range here. You know, above here, good. That's 51.25. Below yesterday's low, bad. Probably put that short-term down, or not short-term, but that monthly downside move first before anything else, if that happens. I feel a lot more confident on the higher-term timeframes there. What's up, DS? Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Any chance you can look at QNT? Sure. No time frames given though, so I'm going with a 4-hour daily, man. I'm just gonna make it up for you. Yeah, QNT quant. Again, anytime that you come back down to your major all-time lows, you're very likely going to get a pity bounce from there. You kind of already got that over here. You got rejected at the exact area that you don't want to be getting rejected at. But is this thing likely to break down if Bitcoin pushes through here? No, as usual. So in this case, I probably would refrain from getting like bearish with another implied move towards your 150 lows, as long as you're above 168 on a 4-hour closing basis. Until then, where's your next major area to be aware of on a 4-hour time frame? 198.80 daily. You know, what do momentum also to say right now? They're probably going to push on through to the upside. Still want to see an actual closure above about 199 to $200, and then yes, I'd be looking for another full-on retest of 240 to 245. It's where I'm a little bit more inclined to say I'm looking for, again, not necessarily based off of this chart on its own merits, basically based off of Bitcoin right here. So if you see Bitcoin, especially take out the 49,300-ish level right there, even on a 4-hour closure, but especially a daily and 5-day, you're very likely to see everything, quant included, put in some nice rallies to those next major areas. Cool. All right. Let's see. Simba Gain says HTR BTC on the verge of price discovery soon. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think, or did we look at this one yesterday? Let's see. I'll have a chart for it if we did. No, we did not. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, we did. It just retested that 3337 region, so that's good. I do think that you're going to be ranging on your highs for a little bit here, and probably does play back down towards like 3,000. But overall, do I think it's going to enter into price discovery? Yeah, this is a phenomenal chart right here. Very similar to Curve, very resilient at the highs. Is it going to enter into price discovery like today? I don't know about that, but the 5-day, which is closing today, is looking really, really good right here. Just another higher low. Whether it's the end of this year or early 2022, I don't have a strong opinion on, but yeah, I do think that you're about to break perhaps your prior highs and initiate new all-time high party with targets up towards 5,400 upon breakage. Yeah, looks really, really good there. And cool. All right, let's see. We have Mr. Echo Zien. He says VCRA. Okay, this is a new one, I think. This thing? I'm guessing it's this thing on Nicey. Really good. Hey, new all-time high party is already in full swing. Let's see. No time frames given, so daily and weekly. Okay, Vocera stock. Okay, yeah, we are looking at the right thing then. Where is our accumulation coming in from? Because that's going to judge my extension targets. I guess it's right here, actually, more recently. Probably looking for this one to stab up over the next few weeks towards 71 to 71.5 or so. Played a bit of a pullback from there, but this one's trending right now. Very, very good. Very, very good right there. Bang Average Rider says Luna USD. If I missed it, please 4-hour and daily. Hey man, all good. Okay, Luna USD. I actually don't think that we've done the USD pairing, or maybe we did. Still good. Okay, yeah, we did do it already. Look, any sort of a 5-day closure, which is closing tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, basically above $73, and I'm looking for this one to initiate its next move up towards $86 with a short-term pullback right there, and then long-term 105 to 110, you know, into like early 2022. This looks good. Lance Daniel. What's up, man? Sorry. GZLR. Okay, this is definitely a new one for me. GZLR. Are you talking about this thing? Guzzler. Does any... I know that he knows about a little bit of fucking guzzler action. Guzzler. We guzzling now, baby. Guzzle me up, motherfucker. This one's breaking out, actually. It's getting guzzled to the upside. We got a guzzle in action right now. This is actually really good. Not much history here, but it is good. Let's see. Where's my extensions there? This one's probably guzzling its way up to like 570 to 575 or so. And then probably pulls back somewhere around there. It's getting guzzled, sir. Guzzle? What is that for? I don't even want to know. Caleb Ono says 1 USD. Yep, we already did that one, so all good there. Kurt. No, I did not. Okay, Moy Dr. Krown. Moy, sir. Link USD daily and daily, yeah. Okay, we haven't looked at Link in a while. Why no one care about Link no more? Probably because it's still on the lows. And it is still on the lows. Looks like it's probably going to try for a higher low right here. Yeah, so it's probably going to pull through alongside the rest of the market. But where is your area to, to really be interested in? On this one, $20. Above $20, this one very likely puts in a nice rally, somewhere around 22.5 to maybe even 23. Short term following that, decent. Again, easier to watch Bitcoin, but I suspect that you're trying for a higher low right there. You got bullish divergence building up. Daily Jewel is about to fire off a signal as well, it looks like. Just want to see it above that region and, probably performs well from there. Urine Finance says Shane Domain. Oh, Shane Domain. I see what you did there. YFI. No time frames given, sir. All right, Mr. Domain. I know Mr. DeCamps, but I don't know what time frame is going off right here. Short term probably pulls back towards 32, but daily, I do think that this one retests around your prior daily range highs, about 42,500. Things start to look really, really good above there for another extension towards the shallow 50,000s. Really weird and ugly looking chart here. I mean, usually if I'd look at this, I'd just be like, this is distribution and looks ugly as fuck. But I do think that you're kind of reclaiming your prior daily range. So kind of have to be bullish off that. 5-day closing today, anywhere above 32,400. I am bullish for extension over the next couple weeks towards 45,600 and probably just gets a free ride towards 50,000 from there, to be honest with you. Again, easier to just watch whatever Bitcoin's doing. Crypto Life 101 says NNDM is the bleeding over. NNDM. I'm guessing this thingy on NAS. Well, the bleeding's never really been over on this thing. So, look, you're probably going to get a pity bounce, but are you going to get a pity bounce soon here? Basically, you're asking, is this the next major low right here? You are starting to build a lot of bullish divergence. I don't think they have too much lower to go. Maybe like 369 to 370 or so first, but I'd be looking for a bounce back up towards 4.5 relatively soon. Would I call this one a macro reversal? Fuck no. This is absolutely god awful. This is 100% terrible. But yeah, this is just another macro lower high, man. So you're probably gonna bounce, but I don't know if you're talking about bleeding over for forever. I don't think this one's bottomed. Just a bit of a short-term bottom for a bit of a bouncy bounce there. What's up, Mr. Elliot Diggs? Good morning to you from Monterey Bay, California. I actually know where that is, man. I grew up in San Francisco. Appreciate you as well, man. Hey, happy holidays, sir. Hey, that's it. That's it, sirs and zers. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I missed one more. No, we actually did CRB, so we're all good there, in fact. So, and Ravensler, XCAD. Okay, I don't know if we did this one. But here's the last one of the day. We got it right here. Actually, it's... Oh yeah, this one was one of the better ones. Still, this one's actually kind of strange though. It's it's still playing within our range. Not looking too strong right there. Short term probably gets a bounce off this region. Bouncing back up to 640 is certainly not the question. So I'd really get bearish on this one below 588 in this case on a 4-hour closure. At that point, I do look for another retest somewhere down around about 560. But overall, this one, very likely bounce off this region. Doesn't really seem to be playing that well with Bitcoin though. So. Fair enough. Bullish back above about 711, but again, if you do lose this region right here, I would look for this one to come down kind of significantly. Short term, 5-day. 5-day does look a little more on the bear side, to be fair. I don't believe I should be looking for a bounce off this region. I'm going to be sticking with that. I'd look for a bounce up to 620 first, come back to it after that, man. Any of the higher term timeframes are looking pretty different than that to me. So perhaps I stay away from that right now because I'm not feeling too confident on that. Not too helpful right there, but you probably should just shoot you straight and say, healthy amount of I don't know is the proper answer on this one, and except for a short-term bouncy bounce, I don't feel too compelled by this chart. Cool. Wow. I think we just got through all 2 hours of this. Did I do who? Vasera? Yes, we did do that one. Yeah, we did do that one. So all good right there. Man, that was a fucking hell of a stream there, my friends. Dear Lord. Bitcoin needs to quit playing and liquidate some shorts, says Crypto Dinero. Yeah, that would make things a little bit too easy, but the market takes its time, sirs and zers. Still, what? That?
Someone asked this question.
Okay.
Please have Eric comment on market regarding Omicron. US just reported its first death 2 hours ago.
Can I comment on the Omicron situation? Sir, I'm not a fucking doctor. What? Comment on the market. Well, the market seems to not give a fook right now. Bitcoin just closed a 4-hour above its last little high on spot price action right there. CME still looking for that higher high, however. Probably going to be a bit of a short-term pullback here. But keep your eyes on the 49,300-ish level. A lot of things building up right there. And I think that's a good place to... can you comment? I'm not a doctor, man. I don't know. It seems like it's serious. Anyways, I'm gonna be signing off now. I want to wish everyone well. It's been an absolute pleasure on this nice little Tuesday morning. Elsa is waving in the background because she loves you today. Thank you to all of our lovely moderators and all of our community members. It's been a nice, fun time. And with that said, take care. I salute you, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it,